Well, did you see that a war vet got attacked by a bear and would still choose the bear? He would choose the bear too. Let's just get into this, because this story, I'm so sick of the bear discourse. I have been talking about this for over a year. I literally made a video on this over like a year and a half ago. Before I forget, join my Patreon, please. If you want to go to lives, hear more stories, personal stories, France stuff, all kinds of stuff, dating stuff. The link is in my caption. Like, comment, share. Make sure your notifications are set, because everyone keeps getting unsubscribed without them knowing it. Okay, promotion done. So I hate this conversation, and yet it keeps evolving because men keep being more ridiculous. They're talking about women being, if a man had to choose over a tree or a woman to share their feelings with, like, I want women to be the tree. Be the tree who doesn't respond to them or be their free therapist or any of this crap they make us do. Honestly, they might as well be talking to a tree, because they're not actually listening for any feedback. A lot of times they're just talking to themselves, monologuing, not actually considering you being a human being. They literally compare women to trees. Okay, let's get into this war vet, because y'all, it's just so perfect. It's so perfect. Like, this is the photo he used to talk about it, which is funny because he didn't actually use this knife. What a misleading photo. Anyway, I knew, like, the way he described it made me not think he's awful, and yet at the same time it reminded me of just men being reckless and a danger to themselves and other animals and other people, even when they don't mean to be. I first saw this story in the New York Times, and then I went to his Instagram page. So this happened in Grand Teton National Park. I used to work there. I worked there as a raft guide. I was also a ski instructor in Jackson Hole. And I actually, before all that, before I got into like outdoor guides, I actually lived in Yellowstone. I worked in the cafeteria serving lasagna for $4.25 an hour for an entire summer. So I have seen and I went to college in Montana. I've seen bears. I've seen lots of bears. I've encountered bears, including a grizzly bear. That was from a safe distance, thank God. But I have never, ever, ever, ever been as afraid of bears as actual running into men in the wilderness, or literally running into men anywhere where I can't get away from them. Anyway, so this dude is a vet, and he's 35 years old, right? So military, we're imagining him be a pretty fit, strong dude. 35. I know he is disabled, but I'm not sure what his disability is. But I do know that he hikes a lot and climbs according to his profile, and does all kinds of sports. So I never want to assume anything about anyone's disabilities. He fought a bear and like won. So by one, he didn't die. The way he talks about it is so insightful. So let's get into it. So given like the way he described this encounter, he doesn't seem like a bro-bra. But I make fun of bro-bras all the time because they're so annoying. And he's a climber, which again, I'm a climber, but a lot of bro-bras who are climbers are so toxically masculine. But I don't know, he seems more thoughtful, especially the way he talked about gave credit to his wife. But I'm getting ahead of myself. He does love dead things. And because he was in the military, actually I have a video coming soon about the military. Particularly the United States military, and my relationship to it through my dad, who was a vet, Vietnam vet. But anyway, I don't think many people, if any, come out of the military, whether they were in war or not, with trauma, like some sort of PTSD, even if they were not actually, in a war zone. The way the military treats people in the military, it's just Uncle Sam is like boom, 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 right? And then a lot of times these vets go home and take that violence out on their families. Very, very, very common, because the military is a lot like a cult. And regardless, it is very about hierarchical. It's all about hierarchical domination, like follow orders, stay in line, which is also why so many of them end up working in the film industry. And a lot of vets end up getting into climbing because a lot of vets use, I have met so many vets who are climbers, and I think a lot of it is because they need a healthier outlet to deal with a lot of their stuff. So rather climbing than, drinking, I guess. But as y'all know, and I talk about a lot, that does not necessarily mean that they are a healthy person. But anyway, right out of the gate, he just talks about how he wants to say that how much he loves and respects wildlife. That the second thing he asked the park rangers is, please don't, unalive the bear. She was defending her cub. He basically says, wrong place, wrong time. That's the only reason why she did this. But he was attacked by a mother grizzly, y'all. Like, black bear, brown bear, grizzly bear is a whole different category. But also, having said that, grizzlies don't like to eat people. They literally almost always do this just out of being startled and going into defense mode. And it's almost always a mother bear. Grizzly bears want nothing to do with us. Unlike men, grizzlies are not stalking you so they can attack you and play mind games with you and buy you dinner so that they can then eat you and all that other stuff. They are literally just want to mind their business. They want to be left alone. Even though they're like a predator in our mind, we are the predator and they're actually the prey. Like, we are such a danger to them in every possible way, through hunting, through destroying their wildlife, their habitat, through capitalism. Yeah, just like the colonialism and white supremacy culture and capitalism and all these things, and patriarchy, and all about dominating, right? And about violence and about exploitation. The United States is so good at that, especially our military. But we are the biggest threat to grizzlies. They are not a threat to us. They literally want to be left alone. Most of their diet is, in Montana at least, is huckleberries. And they eat like the I don't know how they weigh so much for being like mostly vegetarians. They eat dead things they find. They'll eat, dead animals, but they generally are not chasing after stuff because that requires a lot of energy. And that bear was not attacking him to eat him. It was literally a maternal instinct, which is why you will never convince me that like men are the protectors of anyone but themselves and their egos and their little friends. And they're not providers of anything but extra unpaid labor and problems and stress and autoimmune diseases. Look what he says here. That I was attacked by a mother grizzly protecting her. It was the most violent thing I have ever experienced. I've experienced being shot at, mortared, and IED explosion. I'm a disabled veteran in the Army Reserve. I want you to let that sink in for a minute. This man has been on the receiving end of so much violence from the government, Uncle Sam, his employer, from war zones, I'm guessing. He's been subject to the violence of other men, and this is the most violent thing he's ever experienced. And yet at the same time, he knows that she's innocent. He knows that it wasn't personal, that she didn't want anything to do with him, that she was defending herself, and that she had every right to do what she was doing. It was so funny because it was like for one day he experienced kind of what it's like to be a woman. Not really, because again, this mama bear doesn't want anything to do with him and literally did that to get him to go away, to get him to not come after her kid. He is actually the predator, even when she is technically the predator. So he's walking through the woods. Look at this. My wife and I had learned that this was a hot spot for the species. He was looking for gray owls. I love that. He's a bird watcher. I checked out his page. I didn't do a deep dive, y'all, because I can't. These deep dives are so exhausting and time consuming, and I'm so curious. So I had to cut myself off after like an hour of looking at this stuff. He does seem to really love wildlife and like finding antlers and stuff. I'm not sure if he actually hunts. I hope not, but unless it's to eat, that's it. Not just to frame something and put a head over his fireplace like so many men do. I told my wife that I would be back at the parking lot in 1 hour. Oh, this is so classic. Look at this. At the time of the attack, about 1.25 hours had passed. Okay, so he's running late, unreliable, not respecting her time. But okay, we all run late sometimes. At this point, I knew she'd be getting worried, so I decided to beeline it back to the car using my GPS on my phone, which, bro, classic. Like, this man was a little too overconfident, like most men, unprepared, bad judgment, all the things I talk about because men are terrible leaders. This dude was in the military. In the military, he should know better than to just like go somewhere where he doesn't know where he's going and expect his phone to save him. Bro, get a map. Like, so many parts of the US do not have cell phone service. If you spend any time out in these places, you know that. You can't always rely on your phone. Anyway, I'm telling you, these men, I don't care how many wars they've been in and how strong they are terrible. Have terrible survival instincts, so many of them. Because their egos are so big, they do not have humility, even in Mother Nature. Especially in Mother Nature. I swear, if they called it Father Nature, we would not have so many problems with men out in these places. They'd be like, oh, okay. Although they call it Father Time, and men do nothing but waste time. So maybe not. So due to poor service, again, could have told you that, I could only see the parked identification on the GPS and my current location. I started to walk fast to that location. I had a really uncomfortable feeling. I was breaking branches, singing, and talking to myself out loud. These are some things that can help prevent a surprise encounter with a brown bear. Yeah, so luckily he at least knew a little thing about bears. He had been at least humble enough to do some research of what do you do if you run into a bear. And anybody will tell you, like, I mean, bear spray is so pointless, y'all. It actually ended up playing into his story, but not in the way that you would think. But yeah, you're supposed to make a lot of noise. Again, because these bears, you want them to know you're coming so they will go away. They want nothing to do with us. Nothing. Even that grizzly man who I'm going to talk about at the end, that dude deserved to get eaten. Those bears were so patient with that man. Anyway, bears want nothing, so you make noise, you sing. That's why they have bear bells, although there's like, I've never worn bear bells. But I just know, especially if you're alone, make noise to protect these animals from you, from them having to do something to deal with you because you're the threat. I was walking through a thick wooded area in the valley. I overcame a feature in the slope to my right, and I noticed a brown bear cub running up a hill about 50 to 70 yards in front of me. I knew this wasn't good. No, it's not. I unholstered my bear spray and saw the mother bear charging. I stood my ground, shouted, and attempted to deploy the bear spray. But as I did, she already closed the gap. He didn't really know enough about bears. Because I'm not, anyway, whatever, this is not a bear lesson. When she pounced, I opted to turn and give her my back, and I laid down in the prone position on my belly and braced for the ride, interlocking my hands behind my neck, protecting my vitals. That was smart enough. The first bite and slash was on my back and right shoulder. I screamed. She then turned, stepping on my back. She bit one of my legs, picked me up, and slamming me on the ground multiple times. I love her. She bit each leg from my buttocks to my inner knee about 3 times each. The final time I screamed again, this unfortunately, but fortunately, turned her attention to my head. I believe she went in for a kill bite on my neck. I still had my hands interlocked and my arms protecting my carotid arteries. I never let go of the bear spray can. As she bit my hands in the back of my neck, she simultaneously bit the bear can. And it exploded in her mouth. This poor bear. God. This is what saved my life from the initial attack. I heard her run away. I looked up and instantly ran in the opposite direction up a hill. Okay, that was probably dumb. Do not ever run. Do not ever run from a bear. I know, whatever. He probably, if I had been attacked by a bear, I probably would not be thinking straight. But yeah, you can't outrun them. Once I put some distance between me and the bear, I attempted to call my wife. It didn't go through, so I texted Can you imagine receiving this text? Like, you should have said bear attack. I would have immediately thought man attack. She called me back and I told her what happened as I applied improvised tourniquets to my legs. At this point, I knew that I didn't have any arterial bleeds and I just needed to slow the bleeding in my legs. I laid alone in the woods, gripping my knife with my back to a tree, just hoping the bear wasn't to return. So that's why he has that knife. But it's so funny because, I don't know, that knife isn't going to do anything. I mean, maybe, but you are not Tristan. And this isn't Legend of the Falls. And we all know how Tristan's fate is. I need to do that movie, y'all. I hate that movie so much now. I need to do a movie review. Oh my God. Anyway, Tristan is the worst king, baby. Through the phone call with 911, the helicopter was able to triangulate my location since the spotty service wasn't able to accurately. At this point, my leg was not really working. So he like crawled to try to get them to get him. At this time, the first ranger showed up and started his assessment. Hypothermia was one of the biggest concerns at this point. Yup. Yeah. I was alert and responsive. They tried to dress my wounds, blah, blah, blah. They lowered me into the parking lot, blah, blah, blah. Hospital, surgery. The number of things that kept me alive during the attack was reading and understanding what to do in the event of a bear attack and being prepared with the bear spray. That sounds a lot like, hey ladies, make sure you text everybody when you're about to go to a man's house, his address. Make sure that you check in on each other. Make sure you got home. All the content that I do, more or less, is this right here. These are the things you need to look out for the king baby. And where's my puppet? Oh, where's my puppets? For this guy. And of course, for the hobosexual. They are all on the hobosexual spectrum. But some ruin your life, others just exploit you. But, I wish it was just about like watching a video and reading one book and all women are prepared for the thousands of ways that men trick us and ruin our lives. I mean, obviously, you can never be fully prepared. You are never fully protected, ever. But educating yourself on narcissism, what DV is, what financial abuse is, and all the stuff that me and my mutuals talk about, that is the equivalent of this. But you know what? This takes like thousands of hours. I wish it was as simple as, how do you deal with a bear? Make some noise, blah, 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 right? Like, because this man ain't dating the bear, marrying the bear, sharing joint accounts with that bear, being stalked by that bear, and all his little bear friends enabling the bear. The police isn't run by a bunch of bears enabling bears who are actually attacking their own wives, 43% of them admittedly. And at least people actually believe that bears exist. The danger of bears exists. That bears are dangerous. But unlike bears, men are not reacting to us. They are not defending themselves. They're doing this for sport, for fun, because they're entitled, because they want to punish mommy or daddy, because they don't want to work, because they need schmegs, which is total BS. Men don't need to be provoked to do any of this. They just do it because they can and because there's no consequences. And unlike bears, men hate themselves. Bears don't have this. They don't hate themselves. Second, though ill-prepared for a medical emergency, I always have an IFAC on me, but this was meant to be a short walk. Well, yeah, you also, you were supposed to be back a long time ago too, bro. Like, this guy has been through all kinds of training. This man, okay, I don't know what their training is, but just as a wilderness guide, CPR, first aid, wilderness first responder, a woofer. So I was taught that if I'm within 2 hours, beyond 2 hours of definitive care, that I can, deliver babies, like do doctor stuff. That's just with a woofer. I can't imagine how much knowledge this man knows about first aid, but he's just doing his own thing. trying to have fun, and the most violent thing ever happened to him for no particular reason. Welcome to womanhood. I know that stopping the bleeding is one of the most important fundamentals. My wife was on the phone helping talk through using what I had on me. I love that he gave credit to his wife where credit was due, and that he owned up to the fact that he was late. A lot of men would not have said, my wife literally helped me save my life. So that is why I appreciate this man. But you know what? Women are at some point always going to be a hospice nurse. Hospice wife. I got this doll in the mail, $1. These French puppets are cracking me up. But Candace Kelly, shout out to you for the hospice wife. Hospice wife. I swear to God, every woman, if you are with a man, be prepared for this. Whether he's older or not, I swear to God, you're going to be this. Because guess who is going to be taking care of him for being so unprepared, for being a little, I mean, again, I'm not, bear victim shaming him. But I am saying that you are in Grizzly country. Anyway, she's going to be busy for a long time taking care of him. So look at this. I cut my backpack strips, camera straps, and used my fanny packs. Like, look, she came up with all that. Bravo! Unfortunately, my legs both had multiple puncture wounds. In this moment, I accepted on that small hilltop that I could very well die. I recorded a short video telling my people that I love them. I appreciate that. He also thanks Search and Rescue, which again, as much as I talk crap about some of the Search and Rescue dudes, because a lot of men are like heroes in their community and nightmares at home, but everyone thinks they're just such amazing people because they volunteered all these things, and it's literally just to escape their families and have like a great image and get the approval of other men and feel like a hero, when really they are just a king baby who doesn't appreciate his family. Not all of them though. A lot of Search and Rescues are great people. Either way, the reckless decisions made by men in the wilderness puts the Search and Rescue in constant danger. I mean, it keeps them busy, but a lot of these people are not getting paid. So a lot of Search and Rescue put their lives on the line to go rescue men who are just, doing their thing. Because for men and patriarchy and white supremacy culture and all this stuff, Mother Nature is meant to be dominated and conquered. I swear to God. If I read one more, maybe I should do a video on this. One more person who climbed Everest because they wanted to conquer it. I'm like, do you not see the parallel between grape culture and the wilderness? Why does everything have to submit to you? Conquer it. So when I see these stories of men getting their ass handed to them in nature, I'm like, good for nature. Good for nature. Because humans are the biggest threat to them. Especially because white supremacy culture is tied to all this. We were not a threat to nature before this colonization. And this is such a I'm getting so off topic. I've talked about this in another video, and I will continue to talk about it because it's so tough. The way we treat nature is so clearly the violence, the submission, the conquering, the exploitation. It's so synonymous with the way that men treat women, the way white people treat Black, Indigenous, and other people of color. Anyway, if you go look at these dudes' pictures, I'm not going to show you the wound, but this mama was not messing around. I mean, he had to tie all this stuff up so he did not lose his leg. And it seems like he's doing good. And he, has a dog with his wife. But this whole story reminded me so much of this dude, this Grizzly man. Y'all, I did 5 videos on him a year ago. And I kind of feel like doing another one because this story is so perfect to describe everything I talk about. This dude was a classic hobo. This man was storing stuff at multiple women's house. This dude relied on women to get to do what he's doing, which was terrorize bears. And then he had a girlfriend and literally got her unalived. This man even though a bear is what actually took her out, this man was more dangerous than that actual bear, because this man provoked the bear. This man was out there terrorizing these bears, thinking that he was God. It was this whole like, I want to be a hero, right? He thought he was saving the bears, when literally he was annoying the crap out of them. And he was such a threat to these bears. God, I had so much to say about this man. He was an insecure man. He was a liar. He made up stories about being a British orphan. He said some people he's from Australia. And really, like, he was an addict. He was an alcoholic, seemingly a narcissist, and blamed his whole lot in life on Woody Harrelson getting the part of Woody in Cheers. Like, if you just watch this man's video, you understand why he did not make it as an actor. But I'll do a whole video on this, but literally this woman tried to save his life in that bear attack, and he did not try to save hers. So even in a moment of truth, this man brought her into an area at the wrong time of year. After terrorizing these bears for so long, he avoided all the warning signs because he was so cocky. He thought the bears were his best friend. He literally was just like a lonely, narcissistic, traumatized, maybe, I don't know. But he had a lot of problems he wasn't dealing with. What did he do? Instead of actually work on himself, he went to go save bears. But he literally thought he was like Jesus of the bears. But he was able to do that because he was relying on women to financially and emotionally provide for him. He was using them as a storage unit, like so many climbers do. I swear to God, y'all, if you know, you know. And she trusted him, which was her problem. This man was so unhinged. So even out in the Alaska wilderness, in an area full of bears, the bears weren't even the problem. It was him. Any woman would choose a bear over a man. Black woman will choose a bear or a white man over us. You don't know what I'm talking about? This is a really great discussion happening. My mutual white woman whisperer did amazing videos on that. And then white women doing what we do best got her demonetized, literally ruining her source of income because we did what was worse than a bear would. It's got nothing to do with bears. This is all about power structures, hierarchies, domination, entitlement, self-hatred, individualism, all of these things I talk about all the time. But to see an actual war vet say that even though that bear was the most violent thing he's ever experienced, he has no hard feelings against the bear. It doesn't blame her and was really hoping she wouldn't die because of him. I'm telling you, there's a reason why patriarchy is, our world is so messed up, because all of these systems, and patriarchy being one of them, one of the biggest ones, is so dehumanizing, so violent, so exploitive, so dangerous, and even a danger to itself. Men are the biggest danger to themselves and each other. And even a man who was attacked by a predator, even he understands. A man who's been at war, part of the war machine that is currently terrorizing and genociding children, especially in Rafah 2 days ago, right now. And even that man knows that the bear is not as dangerous as humans and whiteness and men under patriarchy, or any of these systems. I just hope that bear's okay, honestly. I mean, a canister blew up in her mouth. I'm assuming she's okay, but thank God they are not going to euthanize her because a man was out there just doing his thing unprepared. But thank God for his wife. Although, let's say a prayer for her if you pray. I don't really, because she is going to be a hospice wife now. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, share. Join my Patreon if you want to hear more personal stories, attend my lives, and just get all kinds of more stuff. The link is in the caption. Et voila!